So this week you're starting your research paper, which is really your last big paper of the semester. I've had you include outside sources in essays 1, 2, and 3, but in a smaller way than what I'm going to expect in your research paper. Your research paper is going to be a combination of your own ideas, but also outside research that supports those ideas. I'll talk more about that. I found a great definition of a research paper from Sierra College that says a research paper is an essay in which you explain what you have learned after exploring your topic in depth. In a research paper, you include information from sources such as books, articles, interviews, and internet sites. You also use your own ideas, knowledge, and opinions. Most of your paper, as a rule of thumb, at least 80%, must be in your own words. This document from Sierra College is great, and I'm going to link it in the introduction to this module. So as you prepare to write your research paper, the main thing you're going to be doing is choosing your topic and starting your research. And this week I'm asking you to turn in a proposal, which is really just a few sentences in which you tell me what you want to write about. I've given you two options for topics for your research paper. The first is an informative research paper in which you explore the idea of what it would take to become a certain kind of career person. So you can investigate your potential career, a career of interest to you. It could be something you really plan to pursue potentially, or maybe just something you've always wondered about. You know, what would it take to become president of the United States? I'm probably not going to do that, but what are the steps involved? The other topic is an argumentative research paper in which you take kind of an unusual research topic or question or argumentative posed question and explore it in depth. You know, why do we eat bacon and eggs for breakfast? How do babies bond with their caregivers? Something I was wondering about as I was taking a walk last night, I watched a mother goose, stand up from her nest to squawk at me, and she had 8 big, beautiful eggs underneath her. And I thought, how do birds and geese know to sit on their eggs? I mean, maybe not a topic worthy of an entire research paper, but I've always wondered about that. So you're going to take something kind of that you've just always wondered about or pondered and explore that. So you have lots of room for your own ideas and your own topics of interest to come into play. I'm going to give you a few reminders or thoughts about research papers, and then I do have the article from Sierra College I will include, and a PowerPoint that I created about research papers that will give you more information along with other readings that you will have linked in this module. So the first research paper I ever wrote was in high school, and the topic I chose was the Salem witch trials. We had read The Scarlet Letter, and I was really interested in that. And I did all of my outside research. This is pre-internet, believe me, so it was mostly books. And I used note cards, index cards, to collect all my sources and all my quotes and paraphrases. And then I sort of put the whole thing together. And I now know that what I wrote was what we call a patchwork quilt research paper. It was mostly outside research, very little of my own ideas, opinions, and assertions. That's not the right way to write a research paper, but it was my first effort, and I learned from there. So as you think about what topic you're going to choose, really think about what you're interested in. You're going to be spending a lot of time around this topic. You're going to get to know it very well. So find something that intrigues you or interests you. Next, get your topic to the right size. Sometimes a topic is so broad that it's overwhelming, and sometimes it's so narrow that it's hard to find things on. So make sure your topic is a good length for the page requirement that I'm asking. If your topic is too large, think about subcategories underneath it that you could maybe pick and choose from. If it's too big, draw your circles a little bit. If it's too small and you need to make it bigger, draw your circles a little bit bigger. Here's an example. I had a student who was assigned to write a research paper about a future career. Sounds familiar, right? He chose becoming a missionary. And at the time he was considering becoming a missionary for his church. So this was a really great and pertinent topic for him. He was looking at one particular country he wanted to go to, and his particular denomination and church. And he found very little research material. So he came to me and he was concerned. I don't know how I'm going to get enough research topics for this paper. And I suggested that he just make his circle bigger. Look at several different countries where missionaries go. Consider several different churches that have missionary programs. And that's what he did. He looked at countries that had similar socioeconomic backgrounds to the one he wanted to go to. And he actually found a lot more materials once he broadened the search or cast a wider net. Once you have your topic in mind, you're going to want to draft a research question. This can become your working thesis statement. It's a question you ponder like, how do mother geese know to sit on their nests of eggs? That would be my research question were I doing that topic. And then anything you find, any outside research you find, that's the litmus test. Does it help answer that question? If so, it's probably worth including in your final research paper. If not, it's probably not a great source for you. Then next, you're going to do the research. We've done research in this class so far, so it's that same process, but probably just amped up a little bit more. Internet research is great. Books, library resources, databases, all the things you can get to through the OTC library. You can also conduct a personal interview should you know someone in the field, for instance, that you are interested in researching. And you can cite a personal interview absolutely in your Works Cited page. Make sure your sources are credible. If you find something that really contradicts everything else you've found, ask yourself, is this a credible source? It might not be. As you research, just make sure you're keeping track of all the sources you're using, because those are going to go into your Works Cited page, and all the quotes, paraphrases, places. You're going to need page numbers and websites. You want to keep up with all of that, because at the end, you don't want to have to go back and recreate the wheel. For your research that you include in your paper, you can do direct quoting, you can paraphrase or put it in your own words, and you can summarize. I think I've already mentioned summarizing isn't something you'll probably do a whole lot of. It's mostly going to be quotes and paraphrases. Use direct quotes sparingly. Put a direct quote in when the author says it in a word sense or a wording that you just couldn't recreate. It's so well said, you want that author's voice in your paper. Use paraphrases where you put it in your own words to make it more seamless. You can still include a lot of outside resources, but you're putting it in your own words so it flows better with your paper and it doesn't jump out as much as a quote. Remember, as I said at the beginning of this, your paper is your ideas, your opinions, your assertions, but you're supporting those with the outside research you find. It's a nice combination. I know research paper can seem overwhelming. It can seem like a daunting task. So I do have a couple of resources linked in this introduction that will hopefully help. And I'm always available to help you as well. We're going to take it in chunks. Each week you're going to turn in a little bit more and a little bit more of your paper. And then I will, at the very last week, give you a chance to revise it for a better grade if you want to. And if I can answer any questions, let me know.